Yes, yes, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's festivities. We are tonight's entertainment. Matter of fact, we are this morning's entertainment. I should say good morning. It is officially 12:03, March 16th. And for those of you who may not understand that, it is Stone Cold Steve Austin Day. Is it not, Vic?
Yes, it is 316, baby. Um,
316, baby.
the crazy thing is, like, I thought free agency started on Wednesday, and Joe was like, "Nah, bro, it starts today, but it's official on Wednesday."
See, this is a beautiful thing about the NFL is while they have all these rules, they have certain terms and certain things that are worded in a certain way that cause for loopholes. First of all, don't be bad on Bill Belichick for finding a lot of those loopholes. That's just the way it
Yeah.
goes, But one of the loopholes is this legal tampering thing, which is very similar to the salary cap. Like the NFL has this hard salary cap. That's just not really the case, as we have seen this year, especially where we've had such a steady increase in cap. All of a sudden now, it's not quite an increase, a decrease for some. And you've seen how certain teams just know how to create cap room because of wording. Germ, legal tampering is the word of the day. Mr. Webster,
Mhm.
tell the people how you feeling tonight and give us your quick thoughts on what you've seen so
Uh,
far.
well, really, I'm okay. I mean, Germ Night Views reporting live for the 22.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, yeah, I don't really have much to say. I think we got some interesting things going on. I'm here for the ride tonight. I think
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because nothing really surprised me, and the things that I do want to talk about, we'll talk about as we go. So
For
let's get
sure.
this. Let's get this going.
You know what? Let's just start with where my mind is at right now. Um, I'm looking at the New England Patriots, obviously, and Bill Belichick, who's we know his resume. We know where he stands in terms of all time coaching greatness and everything of that nature. We're not here to talk about that. Bill has never spent in free agency the way he spent today. Now, it's not that he hasn't spent in free agency. See Darrell Revis, see Stephon Gilmore, Randy Moss. I mean, the list goes on and on of guys that he's brought in through free agency. But it's usually been just a high level elite of the elite type of talent where he's going to throw money at in free agency. It's not the guys that we saw him throwing money at today. No offense to Matthew Judon, who got a big deal. No offense to John Smith, who deservedly got a deal that paid him well. um, and then the other receivers that they signed, I mean, what's the point of even mentioning them outside of, I don't know, they got Nelson Aguilar and then they got the kid from San Francisco. I mean, listen, here's what I think about it, right? I think Bill Belichick saw the ex-wife move down to Florida, move down to the beaches, get herself together, get her body right, fall in love with her yoga instructor or her salsa instructor, one or the other. Saw them doing the merengue and the bachata and got a little jealous. So he said, I'm gonna go out and buy these sports cars. But the problem with sports cars is these rear wheel drive ones, they can't drive in bad weather. And I think just looking at it, Bill said, hey, Views is right. We don't have a championship window. We don't have a foundation. So here's what I'm gonna do. Instead of risking it all and getting a quarterback, putting all these future draft assets into one quarterback who I know what I can maximize every talent out of any position. There's no reason I can't do the same with the quarterback. So Bill said, instead of bringing in a guy who's probably not going to work out, probably will, probably won't, and spending all these future assets, I'm just going to bring back the guy that I had in my building last year. I'm going to continue to build on what we were trying to build because he believes continuity is everything. But he also understands that he can't build his championship team this offseason. He also understands that he needs to put a better quality product on the field. So what he do? He went out, got speed for a guy who is known to overthrow and miss some throws. He went out and got a fast tight end who can make big plays and has got good ups. Everything about high, strong throws, because that's what Cam Newton is, and it's got to be deep. So Bill is building around Cam while simultaneously trying to build for his future. I can't be too mad at it because, like we said, Germ, there's really no championship window for the New England Patriots. So they went out, got this speed. They went out, spending this money on this pass rush. Matthew Judon getting about 14, 16 million from Bill. The same Bill who let Chandler Jones go and possibly cost him a Super Bowl, by the way, by letting Chandler Jones go. Same guy who didn't want to pay Jamie Collins when Jamie Collins went during his prime. Same guy who was able to get rid of Richard Seymour without a thought. You telling me he went out and spent this type of money on a, no offense to Judon, but that's a B plus type of player at best, if we're being fair. Although he was tremendous in pressures. I'll give him that. This is just Bill saying, yeah, Tom's having his fun. I'm not going 6-10 and being miserable all year. I'm gonna go get these sports cars. I'm gonna look flashy, but when the weather gets real, I'm gonna just have to drive slow. Jerm, your thoughts on what the Patriots did today, or Vic, whichever one wants to go first.
Let Vic go first.
I'm so like just kind of listening to what you're saying, Mo. Are we saying that you'd be surprised if they go with a quarterback in this draft in the first round? Or you're saying, because you said they're building around Cam, but then you threw in that it could be for the future.
So Cam is not their future, right?
We can agree to that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm sure we do. I know how you
can all agree to that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But what Bill's not going to do is what the Eagles and the Rams and the Washington football team and the you name it did, which is put all these future assets into one player. Especially when he just saw Jared Goff move on, Carson Wentz move on. So he's not going to do that. Especially when he probably thinks, I'm just throwing out names, Jerm, not trying to trigger. Mm-hmm. Especially if he thinks that there's no difference between the Trevor Lawrence and the Mac Jones, or he feels like he can just maximize out of whoever is there. So whoever, they could very well take a quarterback with that first round pick rather. I could very easily see that.
I'll tell you what, bro. If they're not doing their homework on these kids, they're not doing the team justice. Because, like, I mean, put Trevor Lawrence aside, because we already know, like, the media is pushing him as the number one overall pick in this draft. You know, so if the Jaguars want to go down that route, then that's on them. Mm-hmm. But Bill, I would hope, and I'm sure they are doing their homework on the likes of Mac Jones, Justin Fields, and possibly, dare I say, Zach Wilson getting close to that area, which I don't think he will. But, I can see that. I can say, because it's just this thought that, Bill doesn't draft quarterbacks this early and build this and build that. It just, you can't let the past dictate what you think is going to happen in the future. Mm-hmm. That's just my point when it comes to that.
No, absolutely. Jerry,
what the hell's wrong with that?
All right, listen.
Listen, Les in the comments is crazy.
Oh,
Les in the comments says,
oh Lord.
let's go, Bill. He's gonna draft it and he's gonna make another Brady.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be all right then.
Again, if he draft Mac Jones, then we talking something. If he don't, all right, we'll see.
That's funny,
So,
man.
Another signing that sort of happened, and I maybe not talked about as much, but certainly one of the more intriguing guys that we were curious where he'd end up and the type of money he'll end up with, and that's Bud Dupree. Germ. He was signed with the Titans. It's a multi-year deal. It's gonna pay him somewhere between 14 to 16 million a year. So he got coming off an injury. He didn't want to get tagged. The Steelers didn't want to tag him. Maybe the Steelers side of said, okay, let's float him around and see what happens. But this is definitely a Mike Vrabel move. This is definitely them saying, hey, do-over, or whatever they say in golf, on the Jadeveon Clowney signing. This is our do-over right here with the Bud Dupree. Your thoughts, Germ?
Well, Pittsburgh did the right thing by not franchising him. You're talking about a pass rusher that you can't franchise for $16 million after you knew he tore his ACL.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't tear his ACL in week 1 or week 3 or 4 or 5. He tore his ACL in like week 12, week 13.
Right.
You can't franchise tag and waste money on the cap after you have fought from negative 30 down just to get there.
Yeah.
So you can't franchise them. I understand. This is a rich get richer situation. Same thing happened in the draft when they got Jeffrey Simmons. Jeffrey Simmons tore his ACL. And what happened when he tore his ACL? He ended up falling from a top 10 pick all the way to the teens. And then here comes Variable with the shovel. Let me go ahead and scoop this up right here. Excuse me. Let me pick this up. And then you get yourself an all-pro, very, very elite player that has won them some games in Jeffrey Simmons. I see no difference here with Bud Dupree. You get another guy from that division, knowing that you're going to be playing, 9 out of 10 times, going to be playing Baltimore again. So you get another guy who's familiar with your arch rival and your nemesis, the Baltimore Ravens. And more importantly, I think Bud is an upgrade over what Jadeveon Clowney was for them last year. What does that mean? That means Bud is going to make some plays late in that season that are going to make some differences in some games. So I look forward to seeing what they do with that. I think they should sign another veteran guy. But I'm going to be honest, I like this move. I like the fact that we're adding things to our pass rush if we're in Tennessee, because that's the only thing that's going to help that secondary.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Vic, anything you want to add before we move on to the next one?
No, I mean, Bud Dupree, I mean, like, I don't know. That's going to be interesting. Like Jeremy said, he did get hurt late into the season. So it's going to be interesting to see if he'll be ready for the beginning of this season and stuff like that. But I don't know. Were you going to move on to other names or something like that?
Yes.
Because I have the free agency tracker in front of me here too.
Yep, I do too.
Some names I wanted to. I didn't even know that got signed right now.
Go ahead. Yeah. Drop a couple.
Ahead,
drop a couple, Vic.
And we'll just.
I mean, yeah, you know, like what was it that I saw here? There's one that went under the radar. That looks like. Shit, I lost it. Go ahead.
All right, so
I got one for you.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Carl Lawson to the Jets.
Yeah.
Yes, my fault. Yes. I didn't even see that happen.
That don't excite me at all.
Corey Davis to the Jets.
I don't know, Mo. This is a little bit more interesting than the Patriots signings.
Okay.
I don't think so. Gerard Davis. What? Yeah, no. The reason why I'm saying that is because, okay, let's be real. Let's have that real views from the 22 moment.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the Jets.
Yup.
Now, as much as I love Carl Lawson, as much as I do, why go to the Jets?
Listen,
Corey Davis could have went other places. Why the Jets? Is it because you know you got Jamison Crowder there as well still, and you feel like you got an opportunity maybe for you to you know, I don't know. I'm a little skeptical about this whole situation. The Jets are still the Jets until they are proven that they are not Spirit Airlines, until they're not jetting. It's kind of like how it goes.
I don't really. I take those kind of theories and stuff like that with a grain of salt. I think that Robert Salah being there as a well-established defensive mind can get the most out of Carl Lawson, Corey Davis. I expect them to go for Zach Wilson. That's just. I think they move on from Sam Darnold. I think they go exactly for Zach Wilson. They see what kind of player he can be, and I think the offense get better. Our offensive line looked pretty decent last year too, with some of the picks they made. Mekhi Becton specifically at left tackle. So I don't know. The Jets look decent, but also John Johnson to the Browns.
Yeah, so
was also something that was interesting.
That's one of the ones I was going to touch on. Not like something that we can kind of talk about a little later. But you talked about the offensive line. We're going to segue into that about two offensive linemen that got signed today. First one being Corey Linsley, moving on from the Packers. He was a starting center for the Packers, going to the Chargers. So Justin Herbert gets his anchor right there. That's perfect for a quarterback. Still trying to understand protection, see the defenses, see what the defensive line is doing. Having a center like Corey Linsley is going to help. But more importantly, the bigger sign-in, and if you're New England, I understand why you don't want to give him the money. I'd rather give him the money than Matt Judon. But the Kansas City Chiefs have signed Joe Tooney, 5 years, $80 million. Shout out to him. Well-deserved. He is arguably the best guard in the game when you consider that the older guys sort of, been on a little bit of a regression lately. He may very well have stepped into that spot. Zietler is in there. And then the other Cleveland guard is kind of slipping my mind at the moment.
You got Bitonio, you got Wyatt, and you also got Quentin Nelson. But Tooney.
And Ali Marpet.
Ali Marpet as well. Yeah, I mean, but Tooney is still he's sort of Logan Mankins just a little bit longer. He's an absolutely phenomenal player.
I mean, that's a huge signing for the Chiefs, bro. Like you could tell with that money how much they feel about him.
Yeah.
And what they see in him right there. So and then Corey Lindsey. I mean, I don't know. Should the Packers have given him that money instead of to Aaron Jones, Germ? I don't know. I don't know if that's an Aaron Rodgers talking about bring my boy back in or something like that.
Aaron Rodgers don't have no boys.
That's true too.
Yeah, he does. Pat McAfee and them. But that's because they give him the spotlight.
Hey, guess what? The punter.
The Pat McAfee show. Shout out to that show. It's a very entertaining show. But yeah, they gave him a lot of air
me time. Yep. Oh my God.
Me time. That's a great way to put it. Me time.
Once a week is the Aaron Rodgers show. I'm sorry. I got some technical difficulties with my laptop at the moment.
So why you put your face down on the Josh Johnson signing for the Browns, John?
Because
John Johnson
is a decent player. Don't get me wrong. But you should have been focused on a pass rusher. We can find linebackers and safeties. You got Grant Delpit coming back. You got Rodney Harrison that you can re-sign. Hell, bring back Carl Joseph if that's the case for another $4 to $6 million. He didn't play bad for you last year. Your problem last year was Sendejo.
Yeah.
But you just signed a player for $11 million a season, essentially. And that $11 million a season that you just gave him, add another $4 and give it to a pass rusher.
Yeah.
I just
couple of guys who've been tagged. Marcus Williams, safety for the Saints, he was tagged.
Stupid.
Taylor Moton, outside tackle for the Panthers, he was tagged. Justin Simmons, as we talked about before, he can start for all 32 teams. He is an outstanding safety. Don't really quite understand why Denver has not locked him up and they're tagging him for a second year in a row. That's a lot of cap space. 2 years in a row for a safety, as outstanding as he is. That's just bad cap management, in my humble opinion. Allen Robinson, wide receiver for the Bears, he was tagged. Listen, that is the Bears saying, "Hey, man, we don't care that you want out. We want you. You are that good," and he is that good. He is that damn good. Allen Robinson is as good as any receiver in the league. Just a victim of horrible quarterback play. Trent Williams still unsigned. As for the world champions, they bringing back everybody. Sue hasn't been signed, but that's only a matter of time. Of course, the biggest reason why it happened, just the truth, is the restructure of the Tom Brady contract. He only counts $9 million towards the cap this year, and it created $19 million in cap space. That allowed them to give Levante David 2 more years. It allowed them to tag Chris Godwin, and it allowed them to give Shaq Barrett a multi-year, multi-million-dollar contract. And Germ, we talked about this all for the past 6 weeks, maybe. They running it back. The one person I didn't expect them to resign was Shaq Barrett. I thought he was going to price himself out of their capabilities. That's a bar. But they figured it out. This is what we talk about with the cap, the NFL, and their wordiology. It's you got to be creative with the cap, and they certainly were. Which of these re-signings was the most impactful? And I know it's hard when you got Levante and Shaq Barrett in the mix. Your thoughts?
Just to be honest, the most important signing to me is probably going to not even be these signings. I feel like you can replace some of these guys, especially the receiver. I don't understand what the point of him was.
You're crazy, bro.
$15 million? No,
You're crazy, Germ.
You have a receiver room that's already loaded.
That was not, because Antonio Brown is not signed, bro.
Well,
so even though
hold on, wait. Can I get to my point before you steal my thunder?
Get out.
Antonio Brown is the signing that needs to happen, because Antonio Brown is the key to that offense repeating next year, because he is the one that makes all of the tough catches. He is the one that Tom Brady will trust to make the tough catches, because it sure won't be Chris Godwin. Good player, heck of a player, bro.
Have you been in the lab?
Listen,
have you been in the lab?
Yes, I have. I've seen a lot of drops from those other receivers. Not named Antonio Brown.
It's about to be an argument.
Your key might be chipped a little bit or something, brother.
No.
You know what I mean? Might have to get the new one fixed. This time it's kind of old.
Vic, get some water, because you're a little tired right now. No, this argument is tired, because let me tell you something. At the end of the day, we're just gonna call it what it is. Chris Godwin is a very good player. Okay, he's an A- player. I'm giving him credit, but on this football team, he is not necessary for $15 million.
I just want to sit back and watch. Vic, you got the floor. I'm chilling.
Listen, I mean, we've been in the lab. I know. Germ, first of all, this kid is what, 24 years old, 25 years old. They're not only thinking about now, the Brady years now, they're thinking about ahead of time. You know what I'm saying? They're thinking about 5, 6, 7 years down the line.
So if they was thinking about all of that, Vic, why didn't they sign him to a long-term deal?
They'll get his long-term deal done when that cap increases next season, about another $25 million.
It ain't gonna increase no $25 million from one season to another.
Oh yeah,
bro, it's gonna go up. It's gonna go back up. They'll get back on track. You know, God forbid COVID pops up again.
Amen.
But they'll get back on track. Chris Godwin, hands down, is just one of the strongest players in the NFL between the hash marks, Jerm. Between the numbers, that he's making his catches. All right, we're gonna chalk it up this past season to some of the injuries he's been in, some of the injuries he had with his hands, plus just the connection with Brady, which we saw throughout at the end of the season, got much better. So yes, I would like AB to come back in. I'm not going to debate you on that part, but Chris Godwin had to be a part of this football team. and that goes to show you what they felt about him, Barrett, and
Levante.
Yes,
Yeah.
those three guys were their number 1, 2, and 3 priority.
Now, not to be lost in all this, Gronk also got re-signed, but just to stick to the Godwin thing real quick, the Godwin's signing again. This is a culture signing for Bruce. This is the thing that you got to understand with this conventional wisdom, and I'm not talking to you. I'm just talking in general. Conventional wisdom is out the window when it comes to what this football team needs to do. We said it on last week's show. By the way, Midnight Views probably going to become a regular thing for the next couple of weeks with the robe. Just be prepared for it. But what we were talking about is conventional wisdom for how to build a championship team and how to sustain a championship window doesn't exist for this football team. It just doesn't. It can't. The same rules don't apply. And if the same rules don't apply, well, then you can't judge it with the same criteria, period. And so for the Buccaneers, Bruce is saying, I am going to maximize everything that I have in this room. This is what he said February 6th. I'm going to maximize everything I have in this room. And in my belief, there is not one piece to this puzzle who can just be replaced, not because of the player element or the personnel element or the cap element, but just simply the culture and the environment that exists and that has been cultivated down there in Tampa. That's just
right. And this is a kid that is quiet. All right. This is a kid that I mean, you don't hear a peep from this player right here.
He's a professional.
So, he's playing. He's a player. That's a ball right there. So I'm good, man. Listen, Chris Godwin will get his paper coming next season. Let's bet on it.
No doubt.
Okay.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Anything? Oh, I know Les. I heard Les is in the comments. Les, you would be happy to know that it seems the Bears are gonna sign a quarterback. It seems that the Bears are on the verge of signing their quarterback to replace Mitch Trubisky. Side note, Mitch may end up in Washington. The Bears are about to sign Andy Dalton. You didn't think I was going to say that, Jerm. That's not the name you thought I was going to say. I don't know if they're going to end up with Watson or Wilson, but it seems like Andy Dalton is close to.
That's what he get. That's what Les gets for trolling over here.
Yeah,
you get Andy Dalton now, brother.
Yes, you are stuck with him. You are stuck with Andy Dalton. Les, enjoy it.
So let me just say this. Jaquan is in the comments. What we feel about Judon's contract is he was overpaid. And that was just really that simple. Yeah. Big shot Corey Davis to the Jets is basically the face I just made with one eyebrow up, the other one damn near closed. Simmons getting signed before training camp. KG, that's cool, but let me just say this. The eyebrow is all the way raised and the other eye is closed. I still don't understand why we franchise tagged the safety 2 years in a row. It's just stupid. It doesn't make sense. There's certain positions you just don't franchise tag. No. Receiver, yes, I'm saying it.
I agree. Receiver, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Safety. I'm not disagreeing with you. You don't tag those. I almost said the F word. You don't tag those damn positions.
Okay.
You don't tag running backs. You don't tag those two positions.
You don't tag
quarterback. If you're going to tag a quarterback because you're trying to give him a 1-year prove-it deal, sure. But you don't tag him 2-3 years.
Yeah, but hold on. But y'all making it seem like that what this does is also buy them time. You know what I'm saying? So there's due dates for everything, right? So that buys them time to see if they can get an extension. Vic, what if that's the case?
With Justin Simmons?
Vic, there should
Justin Simmons or whoever.
Vic, there should never be a time that you have to buy time to sign a player that you want. If he asks for a number that you're not willing to give, then that's when you have to listen.
You're gonna let him walk,
bro. If you don't want to pay the number, if you don't want to pay the fee to have him, then you have to trade him. or you have to let him walk. Stop holding these players hostage.
I don't see like that. The franchise tag was built for a reason, Jer. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say to that. Like,
certainly.
Certain times, this is called. You know what that's called? That's called hostage holding.
I just think for Denver, who's got so much things to focus on, who's got so many things they could do with their cap, for 2 years in a row, for a guy that you don't want walking out your building.
Exactly. Right.
Why not just give him something that'll make him happy? You know. But hey, again, it's an imperfect world, and sometimes these negotiations just go a certain way. But that's what it is. A couple other signings, fellas, to knock out. We're just gonna get you as much as possible. You stop me at any time you feel. Unique Ngakoue from the Ravens to the Raiders, 2 years, $26 million. Put the other one, Germ.
What the hell is happening? Yo?
Horrible.
Oh God.
We'll sign in. This does.
How much? What's the number? What was the number?
2 years, $26 million.
$13 million a season, Vic.
That's just a horrible signing. I don't understand what the point of it is. Leonard Floyd, Rams re-signed Leonard Floyd 4 years, $64 million. Look, I understand it's overpaying him. I don't understand why they paid so much to keep him in their building.
Can you save my soul?
But shout out to him for getting paid. I certainly think they understand what value he brings to their defense, and so I get the sign in. Shout out to him, but Rams, you could have done a little better with keeping this guy in your building. It's not like you have to go get him outside of another person's building. He was in your building. Jerm didn't even have to go to the post PO box.
I feel like the PO box is going to be returning soon. Because I see some terrible cap management.
I noticed terrible personnel. I noticed you made it pocket size so you could take it wherever you need. Hey, listen, imagine Germ on a date and she says something like, check please, my side only.
So
I'll pay for the appetizers. I ain't listed them anyway.
Hey, I'm an appetizer type of guy, so
hey, gotta love the appetizers.
Can't go wrong with those.
Jalapeno poppers, one of my favorites. Go ahead, Vic.
So Vic, go ahead.
You have Floyd that got signed for 4 years for $64 million. That's a lot of money.
It is.
You
for a guy that's not going to give you more than 10 sacks a season consistently.
You have Hendrickson that got 4 for $60 from Cincinnati.
But again,
and you got Bud Dupree, 5 for $82 million. Again, so I know Ngakoue is kind of maybe going, I don't know, where maybe he's still trying to figure himself out. But for 2 years, $13 million, that's kind of a bargain right now for a potential pass rush that a team is suffering for.
Well, again,
can I ask you a question?
Go ahead, Jerm.
I have a question. So is Bud Dupree a more rare talent or commodity than Unique Ngakoue?
No question about it. But look how much more money he got for he's been injured.
But we're paying for a player who is elite at doing one thing, and that is playing the outside edge rusher in a 34 on the weak side of the formation.
So he's elite. Like
he's
you're
elite.
Talking about like A plus player as
top
a pass
7.
rusher?
He is elite, meaning an A minus A player who will be able to get pressure on the opposite side of Harold Landry with Jeffrey Simmons in the middle of that defense and with the other guys that they have. The problem last year is they didn't get pass rush. He'll be there for the middle of the season. You don't need to rush him back. You need him there for the stretch run.
One important element, very important element, 2 years versus 5 years. Bud Dupree will not be as much pressure on the cap as much as what's his face? Ngakoue. But not only that, Germ, Vic, they had to go get those guys. They all had to go get those guys. For the Raiders, if you're going to get somebody, what's really the point of signing Ngakoue? Really, what's the point?
I mean, bro, but how do we know that they didn't take shots at the other guys? and that was like their fallback option.
So let's
honestly, it sounds like
it.
a fall. It sounds like a fallback option if they gave him just 2 years.
Well, let me ask
That's
you
what
this
they
question.
thought about.
But it sounds like a player who they just aren't sure exactly what his identity is, maybe, or maybe
He's a pass rusher. He's a pass rusher that hasn't been great at it. He wasn't great at it last season.
I mean, he's only 25.
Right.
So here's the thing: when you sign
it.
a player to a 2-year deal, and you can null and void it out in the second year, or cut your ties with him in the second year, it's essentially a 1-year prove it deal.
Right.
So what you're trying to see is if you can get this guy's best year.
Sure.
However,
it doesn't do anything for me. Go ahead.
Well, let's go a step further. Let's really talk about this. What is unique Ngakwe's calling card as a pass rusher?
What do you mean?
What's his calling card? But I'm saying, what's his calling card? What's his thing? It's not even speed. Effort. The longer the plays goes, the more inept he is to maybe make a play. So with that being said, we're talking about in a league, in a division where you play with Herbert gets the ball out. Sure. Mahomes gets the ball out.
Sure.
In this division, it doesn't make sense. That's my issue.
Okay, so
it doesn't make
they have. So again, see, what is it? Where would have they have gone, Jeremy? What if they lost out in Bud Dupree? What if they lost out in Trey Hendrickson and guys like that?
So
that's what I'm saying.
This is where we have a situation at hand where Vic, we can either draft a player and build him for 4 years because we still have Colin Farrell, who we haven't got anything from because he's been hurt, but it was too high. It was too high. So again, it's a draft pick that was too high, and we have a free agent signing that does nothing for you because of the division you play in. So now we got pass rushers that don't match. See, I got to catch myself because I was about to say the F word again. They don't match. It don't go together. It's like putting on a red sock and a blue sock. It just doesn't match.
I guess I don't see it that way. I see them as adding pieces to where they feel like are holes, and then you see this is what the Patriots are doing. They're adding pieces at all types of all positions, and then so that they can draft the best player available. That's what your number one job is to try to do: is fill all the gaps you can in free agency, draft the best player available.
Yeah.
So
it just does nothing for me. I don't know what else to say, man.
So Vic,
I mean, we'll see. Vic, it's a 2-year deal, 1 year.
So let's just ask this question: would you take the kid from Penn State who you can develop? Or would you rather have Unique Ngakoue right now?
So why not draft the kid, Jim, is what I'm saying.
No. I'm asking you, do you feel that this 1 year is going to trump you developing a guy for a couple of years? That you don't have to pay $13 million for one season? Because remember, your rookie cap is not even $13 million.
It's less than that.
Right.
So I just... Again,
you understand what I'm asking you this,
right? If he's the best player on your board, you make the draft pick. That's what I'm saying. So, like again, what are the most important positions in football? What are the 3 important positions for winning football? Quarterback, offensive line, defensive line, pass rush, obviously edge rushers.
Dennis just said this. He said he was on 3 teams in 2 years. Not good for a pass rusher. We traded a 3rd round for him and letting him walk. Then you have to remember the year before that, earlier that season, he was traded for with a 2nd round pick by the Vikings, and the Vikings traded him for a 3rd round pick in the same season to the Baltimore Ravens.
Hence why he was hence why he got basically a 1-year deal at 25. So I mean, he could be a locker room headache right now. Because again, pass rushers don't get moved around like
that. And I think that's the ultimate point of it, Vic. Is like
could just be slow.
We'll just have to see how it turns out. On the defensive news, some more. Levante David, as we talked about, re-signed. Matt Milano re-signed with Buffalo on the same front. Buffalo re-signed Darrell Williams, their tackle. So Buffalo actually doing some decent things. As Jerm said, Gerard Davis signed with the Jets. That doesn't really do much for me. On the safeties end, listen, the safety market is deep, and for whatever reason, Cleveland decided to give the money to John Johnson. We'll see what ends up happening with Anthony Harris. Marcus May was tagged by the Jets. Kareem Jackson, they are letting him go. Malik Hooker is still unsigned, as well as LaMarcus Joyner, Xavier Woods from the Cowboys, and Keanu Neal. On the cornerback news, fellas, you got the Patriots, who gave Jalen Mills a 4-year, $24 million contract, I think it was, as well as, where did it go? Hold on. Ronald Darby signed with the Broncos for 3 years, $30 million. And then Cam Sutton was re-signed by the Steelers, and Patrick Peterson is still unsigned. So is Kevin King and Xavier Rhodes. Anything to add to those names, fellas?
If you're a team and you're looking at a cornerback and you play man, what's your price tag for Pat Pete?
If I have a number one corner, if I can afford it, there's just two things. I wouldn't mind giving him $12 million.
Bro, Malik Hooker is available.
Yes.
I'm shocked that the Browns didn't throw some money at him, considering that's what you struggled at most last year when you play single high, is having a safety who can cover ground. So you go and you sign John Johnson, the third, who is more of in the mold of a strong safety.
Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, we're not even talking about this enough. Does that mean Taylor Rapp is going to replace John Johnson? Fellas, anything to add before we get out of here? Kenny Golladay is still unsigned. Hunter Henry is still unsigned. Curtis Samuel is still unsigned, as we talked about. So is Anthony Harris and Melvin Ingram, edge rusher for the Chargers. He is unsigned. Juju Smith-Schuster, unsigned. Hassan Reddick, Jerm, we talked about this, is still unsigned as well. We talked about Clowney, Sammy Watkins, Austin Ryder, but Russell Okung, Keanu Neal.
You got the Redskins.
David Andrews, Brandon Sheriff.
Yeah, you got the Redskins getting Sheriff back, but signing Fitzpatrick. All of a sudden, to me, they look like the best team in the NFC East, to be honest with y'all. So, you know what I'm saying? So,
it's still Dallas to me.
Man, maybe. But, I'm going to go off of the young team with, as Jerm could argue all he wants, the culture has changed over there with Ron Rivera. The pass rush is going to get better. The offensive line is going to be better. They got themselves a running back and some receivers. I'm liking that.
Man, if you don't get your extremely goofy looking self on out
we
here.
could bet. Hey, we could bet it right now.
Oh,
hey,
my goodness.
We could bet it. And they still could draft a quarterback. They got themselves room to draft a quarterback.
I'm going to throw two names out at y'all before we a couple of names. Again, we're just calling out names right now. Two names to keep an eye on that I think could be valuable pieces to a potential championship team. Number one is KJ Wright, and number two is James White. Tampa, I know everybody loves Lombardi Lenny. So do I. But I got a feeling Lenny is gonna go get his money.
Yeah, he's gonna. He earned he earned the chance to go see what his value is right now.
No doubt about it.
So
James White.
Nah, give me Kenneth Gainwell from Memphis. Hey, Trav, Ham, shout out to those guys. Kenneth Gainwell from Memphis.
That's not received well. Go ahead, Jerm.
I just want y'all to understand. We got to stop. I'm not mad at James White. I'm not mad at the other name you named.
KJ Wright.
Let me make sure we're clear on this. You said a championship contender and KJ Wright in the same sentence.
Absolutely.
It ain't many teams that he's gonna be able to go to that have a championship window. Let's make it clear.
There's a few teams.
The Packers are not one because they'll never win another Super Bowl.
That's okay
with that quarterback.
That's okay.
So that's number
still
one
in the criteria.
Oh no.
Your opinion is fine.
Oh, damn
But-
it! I throw.
Were they not in the
MVP, MVP.
Were they not in the conference championship game? Well, have they not been there?
Because
3 to
Aaron
5
Donald
years?
Were
because
they?
Aaron Donald was not 300 pounds and he almost broke his rib. That's
I'm
the
not
reason why.
arguing with that. I'm not arguing with that. But regardless of what, regardless of what,
And John Johnson was in the secondary.
Green Bay is still a contender. He's a contender. Green Bay is still a contender.
He
I'ma
should
give you a
go.
little-
He should go.
Hello, I would
He
like
should-
to report some slaw behavior. What's going on
He
on
should
the
go to
scene?
Kansas City. He should go to Kansas City.
Kansas City. See, this is why this is great. Kansas City is the second team that he can go to. Pittsburgh is another team he can go to. Dallas
What is he gonna play in
is
Pittsburgh?
another team he can go to. And then number 5, as obviously, Tampa Bay. I said Tampa Bay. The Bucks. We the people. We Tampa.
We don't need him.
Doesn't matter that you don't need him. Point is, he adds value wherever he can go, as long as he is not asked to be that guy, because he is 31 years old. Don't diss KJ Wright. We could pull up the film on KJ Wright. You know that's one of my favorite linebackers. Period.
Us pulling up the film proves what exactly? I just
That
said
he is
he's a
What's that? Hello?
Hello, Jerm.
I don't know what happened. I don't know what
Oh,
happened.
either.
I'm gonna be honest. I just said that he was a good player,
Yeah.
and that's fine. I'm saying he needs to stay right in Seattle next to Bobby Wagner because that's where he'll be used the right way.
I agree with that.
Jerm wants that money. Jerm wants that money to go to AB right now. Go back to We the People.
Which is fine. I got no issues with that. So we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna see y'all a couple times this week. We don't know what time. The last names I'm gonna throw out you, including is closing thoughts on these names, fellas. Jameis Winston.
No,
with the
wait.
Saints.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, okay,
Nope.
okay, go ahead.
Deshaun Watson. What's gonna happen with him? Mitch Trubisky. Where's he gonna go? And Russell Wilson.
Wait.
Russell
Can you
Wilson,
go-
Deshaun Watson, and Mitch Trubisky. Who will be the starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears in the 2021 season?
Andy Dalton?
Term so true.
womp. Damn. Closing thoughts, fellas.
I don't think they make
Hey.
the pick. I don't think they were able to make the trade. I don't think it'll go down.
All right, let me help you out real quick. Jameis Eat the W Winston has just signed with the Saints for $12 million.
Mhm.
You did all of that stuff to get up under the cap to go right back under. I just,
He should be starting.
This means whatever, by the way.
I know it does. And this means, oh my God.
Vic,
That's what that
closing
means.
thoughts?
Great show, guys. I enjoyed it.
Always. Yes.
Late night,
Yes.
falling asleep, but
I took a
that
nap
was fun.
so I can make this show. That's how real it is. Now, I don't know how I'm going to fall asleep. I got to be up at 5 a.m.
Oh, man.
Eastern. I don't know what I'm going to do.
I
But
bet you drink coffee or Red Bull, whatever it is that you do. Coffee.
there is a specific coffee that I drink on nights that I get 2 or less hours of sleep. 3 or less.
Mhm.
It's called the Blonde.
Le Blonde.
I'm not even trying to be a pervert, Germ. That's actually what it's called.
So,
I'm serious. It's called, go to Starbucks, ask for a blonde roast. Get you a venti, which means
Le
20 ounce,
Blonde.
apparently. Ask you for that. They're gonna tell you, hey, we don't have it right now. It's on pour over. Do you mind waiting for a few minutes? You're gonna say, yes, I don't mind waiting, because I promise you it is the most invigorating cup of coffee you will have in your life. Well, outside of the one that Ham makes fun of me for. Other than that, that's number 2. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jeremy.
just want y'all to know I don't drink coffee. So thank you. Thank you for tuning in to the scene this evening. This was not a coffee special, We do not endorse. We here at the scene do not endorse Starbucks on the live
No,
show
we
because
do
they
not.
don't pay us. They don't
No.
pay us, number one. But yeah, we're just gonna leave that alone. So with that being said, final thoughts from Germ today is be safe, be smart, do better than the NFL GMs of managing your checkbooks for those stimulus packages and checks and things of that nature. And if you need to start a business, contact me.
And stop ordering so much big stuff.
Put some of your checks. Put some of your checks on Bitcoin. Shout out to Rosalo Kung for that.
Yeah, I just since we're talking about non-endorsing, we're not endorsing that. That's just Vic's opinions.
What?
And he's entitled to it.
Yeah, Vic's
okay.
opinions, Vic's views and opinions are not those necessarily
Right.
represented by the scene. So with that thing being said, that's the non-disclaimer for you guys.
Yes.
But be safe and do the right thing.
Sure.
We're out.